G'day guys and welcome back to your English Aussie. In this video, we're going to cover the FPL Wildcard Secrets that most managers don't know. Some may call this the FPL Dark Arts, and we've even asked KSI for his advice on what you should do on a wildcard. So strap on your boots and let's dive into the video. First, let's talk about when you should be playing your wildcard. And by that, I mean when you should be hitting the wildcard button on the FPL site. Now, common knowledge says you should hit it right at the start of the game week so that you can make all your transfers right away and make the most of the price rises that could happen over the upcoming week or two that you're playing your wildcard in. Now, the dark arts managers of FPL know that you can actually make your transfers without hitting the wildcard button until right before the deadline. Now, I'm sure you've got questions about why you would do this. Common questions that I get asked on this is, won't this mean that it'll cost me -4 points each transfer I make before I hit that wildcard button? And the answer to that question is no. As soon as you hit the wildcard button, regardless of how many transfers you've made prior to that, you will not lose any points for the previous transfers made. So you can make 15 transfers prior to hitting your wildcard button. It can say that you potentially have a -56 or 60 points for making those transfers. However, as soon as you hit the wildcard button, all of those negative points get cleared and you will lose 0 points for all of your transfers played in that game week. Second question I get asked frequently is, will I lose the free transfers I had saved up if I've played the wildcard later and I've already made those transfers beforehand? Again, the answer to this question is no. If you had 2 free transfers going in to the week, you made 15 transfers, you then hit the wildcard button at the end of the week, that means that for the week it registers you as having played your wildcard, and the next week you will still have 2 free transfers. One thing to remember is free transfers roll over through a wildcard window. So if you had 3 free transfers before you play the wildcard, you will still have 3 free transfers after. You do not gain an additional transfer in a week that you play a wildcard or you play a free hit. Next, we'll go on to what players you should be looking at buying in your wildcard team, selling in your wildcard team, and we go on to ask KSI for his thoughts on a wildcard team and what he would look to do if he was on a wildcard. A quick shout out, if you have been enjoying this video so far, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give it a like, and if you're on mobile and you haven't noticed, there's a new hype button down below. Check it out by pressing that hype button and help push this video out to more people and help me as a small content creator to continue to grow. Now, let's get straight back into the video. Now, common knowledge would say that when you're picking a wildcard team, you just want to pick the players that you want for the next game week and get them in your team as soon as possible in order to make sure that they don't increase in price over that game week and potentially you lose some money from them. This is only partially right. The dark arts FPL managers know that the main thing you should be thinking about at the beginning of a wildcard week are what are the players that may rise in price, and putting all of those players into your wildcard team to ensure that if any of these players rise by 0.2 million in the game week, you can actually sell them for a 0.1 million gain. A small example of this gain can be shown here. If you go into the transfers tab of the FPL website and you look via the list view, you can see your players' current price, selling price, and purchase price. If I scroll down here to Tijani Reinders, you can see that my purchase price was 5.5 million. The current price is 5.7 million, and I am able to sell him at 5.6 million, making a 0.1 million gain on my wildcard. Now, common questions that I'm asked is, why should I be targeting players that will rise in price? And the main answer for that, as I said, is you can make money and increase your team value. If you bought that player in at the beginning of the week for 6 million and his price rose to 6.2 million by the end of the week, you would actually be able to sell that player at 6.1 million, the midpoint, and make 0.1 million from that. So if you didn't want that player in your team, you've actually just increased your team value by 0.1 million just by making early transfers, bringing that player into your team and targeting those players who you think price will rise the most. Now, the second question I often get asked is, how can I check what players will rise in price across the game week? Now, a simple answer to that is there is a free website that is excellent for checking price rises, and that is livefpl.net /prices if you want to check those price rises. And if I give you an example of what that looks like, you can see here the LiveFPL price change predictor page, and you can see Senesi, Guehi, and Calafiori as the top 3 on this list. Here you can see that in the progress now column, Senesi is at over 100%, which means that he has already had enough transfers in order to increase in price when the next price change occurs in 18 hours, 8 minutes, and 31 seconds. This means that he will increase in price from 4.5 million to 4.6 million at that deadline. As you can see for Mark Guehi underneath, he is currently at 89.69%, but he is predicted in the next column to reach over 100% by the deadline. This is due to the amount of transfers that are currently being transferred in of Mark Guehi each hour. So he is also predicted to increase in price from 4.5 to 4.6 million at the deadline. Now, Riccardo Calafiori is not quite there yet. You are able to see a summarized version of the predictions. If you click on this button here for the summary of tonight's predictions, this will take you down to the bottom of the page where you can see the predicted rises, the predicted falls as well. You can see the already reached target. These are the people who will rise and fall at this current stage. The predicted to reach target, which are the Guehi, Ramsdale, and Tuanzebe, which at this rate of transfers in and out per hour, they will likely rise and fall by the deadline. And others who at this rate will be close by the end of the day, and you might want to consider bringing them in on your wildcard before they rise in price. I asked several FPL managers what players they would be looking to sell on their wildcard. The response was easy. I'd like to just sell the players that I don't want in my team for the next game week. I then went on to ask KSI for his response to that, and this is what he said. No! We did have to cut him off there, but as you can see, he strongly disagreed with what they said. So I then went on to ask the FPL Dark Arts managers what they would do in the same situation, and they said sell players that won't rise in price or that are falling in price. We then went back to KSI to ask him for his view on the FPL Dark Arts managers' responses. This was KSI's response. Yes! As you can see, he's in complete agreement with those Dark Arts managers that you should actually look to be selling players that won't be rising in price over the window or that likely are falling in price in your team. Unfortunately, we did cut KSI off before he could finish what he was saying. He did mention to please subscribe to the channel and like the video down below if you have been enjoying so far. Now, you may ask, why should I sell players that will fall in price or won't increase in price? And the answer is, you can buy these players back after they fall in price. If you have, for example, a player in your team at 5.5 million that's about to drop to 5.4 million, you can actually transfer them out of your team. Then once they drop in price to 5.4 million, you can buy them back into your team and have an additional 0.1 million to spend elsewhere, increasing your team value and making money in the process. Furthermore, when you are looking to bring in those players that are likely to increase in price, the players that you want to be transferring out of your team are players that haven't already grown in price throughout the season. For example, if you had a player that had grown by 0.6 million across the season already, they're not someone that you would want to be transferring out to pick up price rises, as you would lose 0.3 million of that price if you'd like to keep them in your wildcard team later. The same goes for someone who potentially has risen by 0.1 or 0.2 million. If you'd like to keep them in your wildcard team, those are the players that you should keep in there until right at the end when you decide on your team and you have maximized all the other price rises that are available. Another question that you might ask is, where can you see how much your players have risen or fallen during the season already? Now, let me take you over to the FPL website and to your transfer screen. So if we go over to the FPL site and we go into the transfers tab, you can see here you've got all your players via pitch view. If you click on the button here, list view, you can actually see the prices that the players currently are sitting at, the prices that you can sell your players at, and the prices that you purchased your players at. Players like Brian and Bumo that I purchased at 8 million and their current price is 8.1 million, I still would only be able to sell for 8 million. So during my wildcard at the moment, you can see that I've only got one player that has increased by 0.2 million. If I was to sell him now, I could make 0.1 million for my team to be able to use elsewhere. Players that I would be looking to sell here would be someone like a James Tarkowski, who bought price and current price is still exactly the same, and he doesn't look like he's going to increase in price. So he is someone that at the moment I would potentially look to remove from my team and replace with someone like a Senesi or a Guehi, as we saw earlier, who looks like they might potentially be increasing in price during this wildcard period. This is the best area for you to check what players have risen in price, what players have fallen in price, and which ones you should be transferring in and out of your fantasy team. To summarize that, in the words of KSI, don't sell players that you just don't want in your team. Sell the players that won't increase in price or will fall in price. And don't sell the players that have already increased in price for you across the season. Thanks so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. If you have enjoyed, please remember to give a subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you haven't checked it out yet on mobile, hit that hype button down below to push this video out to more people and help my small channel grow. This has been your English Aussie. Have a great week, guys, and I'll catch you next time.